Combat Sports Report has begun. I am Gabriel Morency. We're throwing it down on the Sports Grid Radio and Television Network. Let's do this thing. We got a huge week of fights this week. We got a little bit of something for everybody. We got some best bets on the show for you a little bit later on, but we're not going to keep the badasses ready to step up and in with us right now, waiting. Listen, you all know I'm a massive sports fan. We love football, basketball, hockey, soccer. Like we watch it all. We bet on it all, but there's one event that I've had in the back of my mind. And you always hear, it's a big Saturday college football this week. I'm like, you know what's going on, though, Saturday? Newark, New Jersey is going on this Saturday. We've had so many fighters on that are fighting on BKFC Newark leading up to the card. I just think about it all the time. I'm watching the videos, the stare downs, the press conferences, and this is just going to be sheer violence on Saturday night in Newark, New Jersey. And a man who knows something or two about violence, BKFC analyst, former MMA legend, Chris Lightle in the house. Lights, what's going on, my man?
Man, talk about violence. They got the good weekend coming up. I know what you're talking about. Sports. I love sports. But you know what my favorite part of every sport? When a fight breaks out. That's when the best part. Everybody's like, watch what happened. Oh, my God. Look at this hockey fight. That's why people watch hockey. Let's be honest. I want to watch that otherwise. So, anyway, the fight news is happening, and I don't care what anybody says. The reason I got involved with BKFC, the bare knuckle, to me, that's the most exciting thing out there. I did MMA for years, been retired. I watched it. I saw a bare knuckle fight. I was like, oh, my God, I have to try this. This is exactly what bare knuckle or MMA was. It wasn't even MMA back in the 90s. It was called NHB, no holds barred. So when I started doing NHB, it gave me that feeling, oh, my God, I don't know what's going to happen next. And that is exactly what bare knuckle brings me. Most exciting thing, we had 12 fights last weekend, 10 knockouts. Beautiful.
And not to disrespect mixed martial arts, because I love mixed martial arts still, but it's become it's more of a sport now than a fight. You know what I mean, Chris? Like, in your day, it was a fight. You know what I mean? Like, you would have fear, and even as the fan, it'd be like nerve-wracking, like, oh, man, it's going to be violent. I don't know what's going to happen here. And, the crack of the fist to skull and bone that only fight fans know when you're right there, that tuck, that sort of sound. You don't get that now at the UFC. It's more of a show. Who's in the crowd? And I'm not saying I want to see people get hurt, but you know what I mean, Chris? It's a sport more so than an all-out fight. It seems to me the fighters in BKFC, it has that edge of danger, right? You got to be scared if you're a fighter. The fans are on their edge of their seat all the time. It's just awesome stuff, man.
Everything. One punch changes everything. Anytime the fight is always this close to being a knockout. It's a different level, and you have a different level, a different mentality of person in there. These people are the old school fighters from the UFC, just rough, rugged, tough guys who want to come fight. I mean, I remember when I was fighting early in the days, if you did it for money, you were either really stupid or bad at math because there wasn't a lot of money involved in it. People just like to fight. You don't get guys now. You get pure athletes who they don't want to get hit. Like, oh my God, my face, I got to do that. No, we have people in the BKFC. They know if I'm going to get cut open, and I'm down with that. I'm down for some blood. Let's bring it. You have real, true, hardcore fighters, and those are the best guys. We said who's the toughest dog in that fight? You got Mike Pereira versus Jeremy Stevens. That's going to be the toughest dude. I mean, we're going to find out. I can't wait. I'm so excited for this fight.
Now, a fight that I'm we'll get to the Perry fight, obviously, with Stevens, but a fight that I can't look away from. And speaking of how hard this sport is, Chris, one punch, like you said, one punch changes everything. How the hell does Pereira win 5 title fights in a row in this sport? That's unheard of. Like, it's, you want to talk about the queen of violence, to be that consistent. And at 42 years old as well, Chris, what's your opinion on this fight? Because fight fans really looking forward. And you can't say the ladies haven't sold this, man, because they brought it, and it's real heat. Like, this isn't fake. Like, this is some legit, I saw her, and I love the line. She goes, normally I like to knock people out. I saw Pereira say, Chris, normally I feel sorry for girls when I'm beating them up, and I kind of know that I'm better than they are. And she goes, I have a little compassion. She goes, there'll be no compassion this week. She goes, I want to F her up, and I want to break and steal her soul. And I believe her.
Well, there'll be none of that. Sometimes after a fight, they hug it out, and it's all over. It's not going to happen this time. I just don't see that being the case. These two, before, during, and after the fight, they're not going to like each other. So But no, that's going to be a tremendous fight. You have Faria, who's just been, unbelievably good. Mentally, she's really put herself in the right zone. I want to be a legend in this sport for the rest of my life, and I'll do whatever it takes. Trains like a Spartan, and then going up in weight because Borga, 20 pounds heavier than her. They both have to go up 10 pounds, then go down 10 pounds. We'll see what that does to Borga. She's bigger and stronger, but we'll see if that weight cut makes a difference. Sometimes you get down that weight, it's fine in round one, but what about 2, 3, and 4? Then that could change their tone. So I'm really excited about this fight. Probably the most anticipated female fight we've ever had.
The queen of violence throwdown. So as far as Stevens and Perry, from a technical standpoint, Chris, how do you break it down? Like what does Jeremy have to do to beat Mike?
I mean, he has to be more technical than Mike. Mike's hittable. He knows it. He's got to hit him, and he can't stand there and admire his work. He can't say, "Oh, look at that! I just landed a good right hand," because Mike's coming back with something immediately. So you have to land those punches and then move. Land those punches and move. He's got to be very technically sound with his defense. He's got to hit him first, and then he's got to avoid. Perry needs to do exactly the opposite of what I talked about. He's got to stalk his opponent. He's got to get inside. He's got to make this a brawl. He's got to trade with his opponent, and he's got to land those hard punches. He can hit harder. So if he can trade with Jeremy Stevens, he has a great chance of winning. If Jeremy Stevens can hit and move and not get hit, he'll win the fight.
And Jeremy is hittable as well, right? So that's what makes this fun. To me, it just seems like, am I wrong in believing that Mike's activity is the difference here, that he'll be the more active fighter?
Well, Jeremy's been more measured, more calculated, going to try and land without, just wasting any punches. So you have to think Mike's going to be the guy trying to come in, but that's where Stevens needs to try and, as soon as Perry comes in, hit him and then move out of the way and don't be there. Don't sit there and admire your work. He can't get greedy and try and land 2, 3, 4 punches. You got to land, 1 or 2 punches and move right out and just keep doing that. That's what he has to do to win the fight. Land a couple hard shots and then disengage immediately.
Are we going to see a Mike Perry, Conor, McGregor fight like down the road? Like, is
Man,
this?
I'm hoping.
Yeah, is this? So I got to ask you about this because Conor talks, and I kind of get the feel like he goes. I promise you, I will fight in BKFC one day. Are we going to see Conor McGregor fight in BKFC one day?
I fully believe we will, and for the reason that I talked about earlier. I'd retired for 6 years when I saw bare knuckle. I was like, I'm done fighting. And then I just saw it, and I was like, man, this is the next level of realness. Like, you have to be perfect. You can't get hit. You have to be precise with your punches. It just added a new level of danger to me. I was like, I got to try it as a combative athlete. And I think Conor sees that as well. The more he's around it, I think he's like, how will I do here? Can I be as good as I think I am? This sport, to me, is made for Conor. He would be great at it. I think he will have that itch. I think, he's already been there, done that with the UFC, with mixed martial arts. What's next? Bare knuckle. And he's one of the owners. This could be the most profitable fight he ever has. I would do it if I were him. Hell, I thought about doing it. I'm not him.
And it's funny, and he obviously doesn't need the money, right? So I love what you just said. And on the other side, Chris, I'll ask you about Frankie Edgar, because people are, it's sad, you need the money. I don't buy in. I think what you just said, I think a lot of MMA fighters, Chris, feel rejuvenated by seeing this sport. And quite frankly, they want to see if they can do it. They want to tell it's like, it's a challenge again, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? 100%. It's a challenge again. Like, it's like doing it.
Every fighter who gets involved with fighting at the beginning, I don't really know any who does it because of the prestige or the power. At least they didn't used to. You do it because that's who you are. That's who Conor is to his soul. So it's hard to run away from that. He's already got the money. What's he need it for? He wants to do it to be like for him, to fight against himself. And that's what this is about. I think he'll be lured into that, and he won't be able to get away. Eventually, it's going to overwhelm him, and he's going to have to do a fight.
All right, we'll talk about more of the card this Saturday. It's BKFC in Newark, New Jersey. It's going to be off the hook. The Queen of Violence fight. Can't wait for that. More with the great Chris Lightle on the other side. Combat Sports Report continues. I am Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it with the BKFC's Chris Lightle. Massive card. You know, every card's a big one with BKFC, and they have so many cards going on, you know, at the same time, globally. There's always something going on, but this is one of the signature cards, I would say, right, Chris? Like, so, you know, you got Newark, New Jersey, massive media market. We've already seen, you know, what's been going on in Philadelphia, but we were just going into the break here about, like, saying that, about Conor McGregor wanting to test himself. He doesn't need the money, Conor, obviously. He's not, you know, he wants to test himself. And a similar situation, Chris, I want to ask you about that because, you know, I'm a music guy as well. I'm a metalhead, and Twisted Sister are doing a reunion tour. And D. Snyder's 70 years old now, bro. We're all getting old, right? So D. Snyder, he's 70 years old, and he said, I'm not doing this because I think we're going to become the biggest stars in the world. He goes, quite frankly, we're not getting paid enough money for this reunion to think we're doing it for money. He goes, I want to see if we can do it. He goes, it's a challenge. He goes, I'm actually scared to go on this tour. He goes, I'm excited. I don't know how many tickets I'm going to sell. I don't know if I can last the whole tour. I don't know if people will still like us, but I want to find out and I want to test myself. And he goes, I almost feel like I do when I was starting out my career, and I can't help but see the same parallels in BKFC with a lot of MMA fighters, Chris. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm not doing it for the prestige. I'm doing it because I want to see if I'm still effing tougher than everybody else.
Not only that, but you get this feeling in your stomach, and the people get involved with fighting for a reason. It's to see, am I better than this other guy? Can I do everything in my power to me train as hard as I can, him train as hard as I can, and I be on top of him at the end? I win. It's just like a very primal thing. And I don't care what you say, all the money, all the fame, that's a great bonus, but at the end of the day, you miss that beginning part that you wanted when you first started your first fight, and nothing will ever be as good as that first win. You're always chasing it, so he's going to be wanting that. All fighters want that. They can't get away from that. It doesn't matter how much money you've made or whatever. Everybody wants to fight one more time, no matter what. Until you die, I think you're going to want to. I have to think I'm not there yet. I mean, I still want to fight, but I'm trying to be smart. But I think, you know, if you still have the ability, I think that burning desire is going to be there to test yourself and just to see if you could be as great as you think you can be. You have to get that feeling again.
I can't speak for Frankie Edgar or put words in his mouth, but I'll ask you as someone who's been there and done that. A good example, I would say, is Frankie Edgar. We're talking about a man who's been a multiple champion, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, one of the toughest guys, bar none, of all time. I bet, hopefully we can get him on, we'll ask him, but I bet, Chris, he'll be more nervous walking in this Saturday than he's ever been in the UFC before. Because it's new. It's like a fresh experience, and he's going to be like an effing rookie. Even though he's the great Frankie Edgar, I bet you he's going to be like, oh my God, like when they're calling his name, oh, this is real. This is bare knuckle. I'm doing this for real. And there ain't no turning back once you start walking down the tunnel.
Man, I remember the first bare knuckle fight I had. I was 43. I'd been retired from the UFC for like 6 years. I'm in England, and I walk out there. I remember I looked at my hands. I remember this. It's the only thing I could respond to is I felt naked. Like I was out there. I was like, like naked. I was like, and I remember the guy bent down. I throw a right hand. I remember thinking, throw an uppercut. And I thought, if I miss, I'm getting knocked out. You know, so it was like, I moved away. I was like, dude, this is going to take a minute just to figure out what is going on here. And it's that whole brand new level of the unknown. It reminds me of back when I could kick a guy in the head or headbutt on the ground. It was just free for all, anything. And that's what it reminded me of. And I think that's what it reminds other people of. They're like, dude, this is real. This is crazy. What am I doing here? But once you conquer that, it's amazing. But you want to conquer that. You want to go in there and feel that fear. That's why you do it. And that's what lures all fighters into this type of sport to begin with.
You just said you felt naked. I haven't heard that expression before, but Phil Baroni once told me the term rubber arms. He goes, I said, what happened in the fight, Phil? He goes, I don't know, dude. I got effing psyched out big time, like going in. And like, he's Phil Baroni, right? You figure he wouldn't be psyched out. He goes, I got nervous. I got psyched out. And he goes, when I was throwing, he goes, when you get rubber arms, he goes, you throw your punches, but it doesn't feel like you're really throwing it. And it doesn't feel like it's hurting the guy, Chris. What's that feeling like when you sort of, it's in your head and you kind of feel helpless, or what you said? I feel naked here right now.
I can just describe. I remember I've had a fight where your biggest fear in a fight is gassing out. And I blew my wad in a fight. I was dead tired. In the last round, I had nothing left. I remember just thinking, this is the worst feeling in the world. I don't know what to do. How do I get out of this? There is no answer. It's just like, I just got to take whatever this guy does to me. And I just can't. It's the most humiliating, emasculating feeling in the world. It's like, I don't know what to do. I hope this referee helps me or I'm going to die. Yeah, this is terrible. So it's just a hopeless, terrible feeling that you hope is over in hopefully less than 5 minutes.
So what do you it's over, you hope it's over fast. That's awesome. I love these stories, Chris. That's why I ask you. And your nose one of the toughest guys. I just love that. You're like, I'm effed. There's nothing I can do. You're looking over at Herb Dean. You're hoping the ref does something stupid. Yeah, just do something weird here, you know?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately for me, I never got knocked out or anything or submitted, so they usually went the full time, and I was like, this sucks. And you look, I remember one fight, it was amazing. I threw a big combination. I'm winning. I'm looking good. I look up. I go, man, I hope this round's almost over. And I look up, and it's like 345, 344, 344. I was like, no, I got a whole 4 minutes.
It's like the slowest minutes of your life.
Oh, it was so bad. I was like, this is going to be a rough time, man. And it was. I mean, I won that fight, but I did not feel it at the end. I was horribly tired, and I got beat up that round a little bit.
All right, so before we get you out of here, Chris, what's a fight? We talked about, the main events here, but what's a fight on the undercard or prelim? We got a minute here that you're excited to see.
It's not really prelim or undercard, but one of the fight is Mike Trezano versus Carlos De Leon. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a very good fight. I don't think people realize how tough that fight's going to be.
All right, so if you can't get to New Jersey this Saturday, you can watch it on DAZN pay-per-view. And the Zone is going to be in the house. I can't wait for this. We're going to be posting all our picks for the fights. And, Chris, let's talk again sooner rather than later. Always love having you on, my man.
Thanks, buddy. You're going to love these fights. Everybody watch it. If not, you're a fool. Trust me.
There's the great Chris Lightle with us. Like I said, this is a must-see card on Saturday night. They've been hyping it up, and the BKFC, they back up the hype. It lives up to the hype. I wanted to get to this BKFC on skates thing with Chris, the hockey BKFC stuff. We'll hit that next time. Combat Sports Report continues. Combat Sports Report continues. I am Gabriel Morency. Thanks to Lights Out Chris Lightle. We got Lights Out Sean Merriman, but he was a football player as well. Thought it was fascinating. I asked him about the Conor McGregor stuff. So Conor McGregor is a co-owner of BKFC. Brilliant business. Say what you will about Conor. He really is a good businessman. So brilliant decision by Conor to get a piece of this. This BKFC is only going to continue to get bigger and bigger. One thing, if you notice about BKFC, preparing and getting ready for this stuff, like for the shows and the interviews and the fighters and stuff, there really is. They really don't get any media attention. They really don't. I think, they get it from us. Like, seriously, look, go on YouTube, go online, go out there, look for interviews with these guys. You'll see, the little Instagram clips and stuff, you know what I mean? But, and BKFC, they made a decision, basically, Instagram. Every one of their fighters on the website, on their bio, takes you to their, they don't have Twitter or Facebook and all this crap. Instagram. And Instagram is massive, right? Much bigger than X, Twitter, whatever, is. But I don't know why. I guess it's too vicious and brutal for people still, right? It's funny because the UFC can still be vicious. Fighters still get pummeled, right? Fighters' faces still get busted open at times. It's just not as graphic. And like we were talking about with Chris, it's more of a sport now, right? And I say in a sport in a sense of UFC fighters before were like Chris were. You see, you know what I mean? He's a fighter, Chris. He's a fighter. Like, he's not, like, if you ask him, what do you do for a living? I'm a fighter. You ask a modern MMA, you ask a UFC guy now, what do you do for a living? I'm an athlete. Right? I you know what I mean? I'm not a fighter. They're not fighters per se. Some of them still are, but not like, they used to be like, the Chuck Liddells. He's a fighter. Chris Lieben's a fighter. Like, so the BKFC, that's what attracts me to it, that it's much edgier than the UFC. And I'm not like, oh, I'm above the UFC and mixed martial arts and PFL and stuff. No, I like it. You know what I mean? But let's call it out for what it is. A lot of fights are boring, right? And there's so many fights that you don't have high-level fights all the time. When you're fighting bare knuckle, it can't help but be, like, exciting. Yeah, like, it really, you know what I mean? And the thing is, the thing that's crazy to me about BKFC is it's not like all the bare, I don't care about the bare knuckle part. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? They got tape and, you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's the speed. It's amazing. Like, it's just full fury. Like, I don't know how the fights last more than 20 seconds, to be honest with you. Like, they literally just watch the Pereira girl tomorrow. Watch Pereira. All right, against in this fight against Barga. She's like seriously like a demon that's been unleashed from the gates of hell. like I'm dead serious. She just starts. It's just like boom, 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 boom. It's a freaking ambush of punches coming from all directions, bare-fisted. Like, yeah, there's a reason why she's won five title defenses in a row. She's kind of like, I can say Amanda Nunes, but like she murders people. And like she goes, oh, I kind of feel sorry for people. I feel sorry for the girls when I'm beating them up so badly. But she hates, like these two hate each other on Saturday. So that it's going to be a fun one. But yeah, I just want to bring this up that even notice, like, you do not see. The only time BKFC, and they're smart, the only time they ever get any attention is because Conor McGregor talks. So Conor McGregor said, like last week, but Conor says a lot of things, right? Like, I'm going to do this, I'm fighting here, I'm fighting there, and, eventually he will. But I do believe he will fight in the BKFC. Like, he is a co-owner, so he's going to cash in and make a ton of money. The only thing is he's under contract to the UFC still. So he's got 2 fights left with the UFC. He's in a tough spot. He probably will end up on the White House card. They're going to go all out on that. Conor basically said, if the UFC doesn't want me, I'm just going to negotiate the fight with Donald Trump directly. And normally I'd be like, what are you talking about? But yeah, I'd be like, yeah, you probably could pull that off. Yeah, I can see that happening. But I'd like to see Conor and BKFC, but he's got to, he's not going to get permission. He's got to get through as big as Conor McGregor is, as much money as he has, and as much power as he has, he's still under contract to the UFC for 2 more fights. So I would imagine he's got to get through this contract, and we'll see Conor fight BKFC in a couple of years. That'd be awesome, but he keeps on poking Mike Perry like he wants to fight Mike Perry. He'd love to see it. All right, speaking of the UFC, we're going to break down UFC 320. We got Tom Zino stepping up and in. Combat Sports Report continues. Bring it. Combat Sports Report continues on the Sports Grid Radio and Television Network. I am Gabriel Morency. Let's do this thing. We've got some great fights this weekend, and literally in every company as well. We've got a big PFL card. That BKFC card is off the hook in Newark, New Jersey, and this UFC card has some serious weight to it. There are some badass fighters on the card. We broke down the UFC card last week with Tom Zino, and he did such a great job. We figured we'd bring him back from nukethehouse.com. And for those of you that paid attention to the picks last week, very profitable once again, as we've got to bring up the Haitian sensation, Neil Magni. And yeah, it was a controversial victory. It is what it is. There's always going to be controversy in the UFC. But we talked about a fighter, guys, that was 5-5 in his last 10 fights, and it was a plus 165 underdog in 5 of the 10 fights. Now he's 6-5, and he cashes as a large underdog again. When people talk about the history books of MMA, they're not going to say, man, that Neil Magny was one of the best fighters ever to do it. But when MMA bettors sit back and talk about fighters that made the money and profitable fighters, Neil Magny really is one of the most profitable fighters in the business. Alberg gets it done against Reyes. Let's bring in Tom right now. Tom, good to see you. We'll get to the great card this week, but let's just look back a little bit. We picked some winners last week. What were your thoughts on the card?
Yeah, it was a good card. The place came through, hit 3 out of the 4, which was nice. I wanted to get that parlay off to a good start. We did. We missed on the under, but, there was chances in that fight to find finishes. It just didn't happen. And then the 2 dogs came through. So it was a great card. I had a good night on DFS, and I'm looking to keep it rolling on this one. We got a good card.
Not a lot of people know much about Alberg, right? There's so many fighters now, Tom. Let's be real, right? I mean, I remember in the old days, I was speaking with Phil Baroni, and he goes, man, I can't keep up with all these fighters in the company. There used to be 60 of us. Now there's like 200 of us. So imagine, right. That was when there was like 200, and he was like, there's too many. Now there's literally like 3,000, and it comes fast and furious, and we're talking about a fighter, from New Zealand, often fights on the Australian cards, but Alberg is like quietly, basically, this guy's the real deal, Tom. Like, what more can we say? Because people are like, oh, he's a reality TV star, he's a kickballer, this and that. All he does is mess people up, bro. And he's not beating tomato cans. He's beating former champions. He's beating guys that, some people thought Reyes beat Jones for the championship. At some point, we got to say Alberg deserves a title shot.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to be next in line, I would imagine. We'll see how this one plays out. But he had to come out and he had to put on a big show, and he did. I mean, he got the first round finish. I worried about Reyes' chin. Is it going to hold up to a guy like Alberg? And we got that answer. The answer is no. I mean, Alberg, the guy's got firepower. And, so far outside of his debut, he's come through every time. So the guy deserves it. The light heavyweight division is, it's kind of shallow, but there is some talent up there, and he's one of the guys.
And, Dana and the company are always talking about they like guys that finish. They like guys that are, showing up, not just trying to win. Hell, if I was a fighter, I'd just try to win. You know what I mean, Tom? Right, yes. I would ask, how's Chris Lieben's face doing? Try to impress the fans. Right. I'd be like, no. I'm just, okay, Dana, fine. I'm going to win fights, and we'll get, we'll handle it that way. But you know the way it is. I know the way. Everybody knows the rules. Everybody knows the way it is. So, like, if you're Alberg, I mean, he checks all the boxes. He's entertaining. He's got the looks. He can speak. He can do interviews. He's got the personality. There's nothing not to like about him, really, to fast track him and to promote him, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I had my doubts, how good is this guy really? But I mean, he's shown it. He's shown he's got a full, well-rounded skill set. And like you said, he's got the personality. He's got the look. He's a big, strong dude. He's got the power. He's got finishing upside. Yeah, I mean, he's for the light heavyweight division. I mean, that's fresh blood, basically. He's been around a little while, but new face in that championship picture. And I think he deserves it. I think he'll probably get the shot after this.
So looking to this weekend right now, we've got a rematch with the main event with Kaev and Pereira. Pereira is a fighter that he's sort of an old school throwback, right? A lot of these fighters don't want to fight. They don't want to fight like too often. Once they get the belt, they want to hang on to the belt because they get more promo money, and they don't. Let's fight once a year if we can and try to milk this. Pereira, he ain't like that. The guy fought that was his 4th fight in a year. So in the first fight, I know fighters always, a lot of fighters will have an excuse after, but I actually believe Pereira when he goes, I was basically at 40% in that fight. He goes, I really was nowhere near 100%. this is his opportunity for redemption right now, in which was a close fight, but what surprised people was in Kaev's his striking in the first fight, Tom. Right, that surprised people. Everyone sort of billed it, grappler versus striker, but Pereira actually got messed up striking a bit. What do you think about this fight? And it's rare that you're going to see Alex Pereira at a plus 200 price.
Yeah, I think there's some value on Pereira in this fight. I think that last fight is what you said. I mean, he was taking those title fights as the champion on 3 weeks notice, a month notice. They were kind of throwing those fights together, and most champions aren't doing that, but Pereira did. And, it seems like it might have bit him. He looked very sluggish. He might have been worried about the takedowns, but, he stuffed all 12 of the takedowns. So, in this fight, he probably comes into it knowing, all right, this guy, if he's going to try to take me down, it's not going to be that easy for him. I can maybe let it go a little bit. He's had, 5-6 months to kind of settle himself. So I think, again, it's going to be a competitive fight. I think the number on Pereira, it's intriguing. I think, that kind of price on a guy with that kind of power and skill set. I haven't placed a bet on him yet, but I probably will by the time we get to Saturday.
Over under is 4.5, so odds makers are expecting somewhat of a repeat performance of a fight that went the distance last time. Man, Magomed is just so good too. Like, it's just one of these. This is a really, really, really good card. Really, really good card. But Pereira with the time to sort of heal, and like we said, it was his fourth fight. That was unbelievable too. 0-12 on the takedown attempts last time. Just absolutely stuffed it. So we have another champion in a kind of a situation here, actually, Tom, where Davisheli is fighting pretty quickly after he just beat O'Malley, but he didn't take any damage in it. It's a little bit different, right? Pereira was in some wars, and you could see Pereira was kind of getting tired before that last fight too. He was pushing the envelope, and you could just see he wasn't moving with the same fluidness, with his knee and stuff. But, as far as Meab is concerned, this guy, whatever, dude, I think this guy could fight every 2 days. He never gets touched when he fights. He really doesn't take a lot of damage. What are your thoughts here? Do you think Sandhagen is a live dog? He's plus 300. We're coming up against the break, so we'll get Tom's full thoughts on the fight. But what did you think of the number when you saw this number? Were you like, oh, wow, he's a minus 400 favorite, or do you think it's the correct price?
I think the line is kind of wide. I do like Sandhagen. It's one of those situations where it seems like Meab is unbeatable, but at some point, guys, they do lose. And I think Sandhagen is live in this fight. I don't think he's going to win, but I do think he's going to make it competitive. I think he's going to win rounds.
So point spread bet could come into play then. Exactly. With the old point spread, yeah.
Yeah, I bet the plus 5.5. I think Sandhagen can win a couple rounds. It's going to be competitive. Sandhagen does put damage on guys, and we've seen Meab get cracked in the past. Sandhagen's been in those championship fights. He knows what to expect. He's not going to cower in the moment. I think it's going to be a very, very competitive fight. I think Meab probably gets the job done, but I think Sandhagen's going to make a good fight of it.
More with Tom Zino on the other side. Combat Sports Report continues. Combat Sports Report continues. I'm Morency. We're kicking it with NukeTheHouse.com's Tom Zino. We're breaking it down. UFC 320. As we went to the break, we were just talking about the Meab and the Sandhagen fight, and Tom was saying that he thinks that, Sandhagen obviously in tough in this fight. It's going to be hard for him to pull off the victory, but it is a big price. You get like plus 280 right now at FanDuel. I see on Sandhagen, but the points and the point spread is a nice addition to MMA betting, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Before, I think DraftKings was the first one to do it, and other books started to pick it up, and now everybody does it. Are you using this? Are you betting the point spread, so to speak? Are you using this prop that's been kind of new to the game, new to the MMA betting game?
Yeah, I use it a lot because I mean there's so many dogs that are live, and you place the bet, and at the end of the fight you're like, it was a good bet but I lost.
Yeah.
But in this situation, you get the point spread. Yeah, it is a good bet. It's a good fight, close fight. You get a round, you get 2 rounds, in these championship fights, and I think it's a great tool. I often use it as parlay pieces. There's just so much good about it, and a guy like Corey Sandhagen, yeah, I'd love to bet his money line because it's big, it's huge, but in all reality, I know. I mean, I saw Sandhagen versus Umar, very similar matchup to Meab, and he had a good showing in that fight. He stuffed a lot of takedowns. He did get taken down 5 times, but he did get back up. So really, I mean, in this fight, I think it's kind of similar. I mean, he's going to do that. He's going to make it competitive. He does put damage on guys. He hurts guys. You see him getting TKO finishes. Saw in his last fight, his opponent blew out his knee, but that's him, going for submissions and raking on the knee. And Sandhagen is a very, very tricky guy. And the point spread, to me, is a great bet. And I use it quite frequently. And on a guy like Sandhagen at even money, it's great. I love it.
We should note as well, you're getting 5.5 with Pereira. And it was a 48-47 fight the first time around, guys. So something, it's like sports betting, Tom, right? I think it's the best way, what I mean? You got the money line. Hey, I think this football team can win the game, but yeah, they didn't win on the money line, but they covered the point spread, right? It's one of those type of deals. So sprinkle a little bit on the money line. You jump in on the spread. Like Pereira is a good example. 48-47 last time. We're getting 5.5 with Pereira. You're getting plus 200 on the money line as well, so you can sort of separate it a little bit. I know that the Roundtree Perzaka fight is not on your best bet list, but it is a hell of an entertaining fight. Odds makers don't think it's lasting long, Tom. The over-under is 1.5 in this fight. Roundtree coming off, a good performance. He fell short against Pereira, but big time fight here against a former champion in Yuri. What are your thoughts? Perzaka's a minus 175 favorite.
Yeah. I like Yuri. I think he probably gets it done. I'm a big Roundtree guy. If you watch any Roundtree interviews, it's hard to hate the guy. He's a super nice guy. He was, 6-7 years ago, he was an okay UFC fighter. He went over to Thailand. He worked on his kickboxing. His kickboxing's come a long way. He's a great story. And I think this is a great fight. And I do think somebody probably goes to sleep in this one. Yuri's a wild man. Roundtree, we know Roundtree's got power. He's got the ability to hurt people. He's got heavy kicks. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think Yuri wins. But, I mean, it's close. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do from a betting perspective on this one. But I think Yuri is maybe just a little bit a step above Roundtree. And but anything can happen. We've seen Yuri get cracked in the past. He's a wild man. He sticks his chin out there. He's not afraid to go for it. And Roundtree, he can just land something big. So I could see either guy getting knocked out. I think it's going to be an awesome fight. This is going to be one that if I don't have a bet on it, I'm just going to watch it from a fan perspective, and it's probably one of the best fights on the card.
Magomedov and Joe Pfeiffer, another banger, so to speak. Another fight with a total of 1.5 as well here, Tom.
Yeah, this fight, I don't know. I think Pfeiffer has the power. He's got the grappling too. I mean, he's got a pretty good, well-rounded skill set. I think Pfeiffer gets the job done, but he does worry me a little bit. If the fight gets extended, but I think both guys, I still question both their cardio. I think Pfeiffer probably gets it done. I think he's got the power. I think he's the overall more skilled guy. He comes from a good camp. But this is another one that I'm a little bit hesitant to put my money down on it because I just think, both guys still have some question marks for me. I think Pyfer overall is the better guy. I think Pyfer wins.
All right, so we talked about the Corey Sandhagen fight, and Tom thinks that the plus 5.5 is an attractive look in that fight with Sandhagen. Now you got a parlay. Let's get to the Josh Emmett fight. This is one of the legs of your parlay. And listen, Josh Emmett, always in entertaining fights, and, obviously fights that usually go the distance because he's so effing tough as well. So talk to me about the parlay that you're going to put together here.
Well, I like the over in this fight because, like you said, Josh Emmett, tough as nails. Josh Emmett's another guy. I may have a spread bet on this one as well because Emmett, he's got the power. He's been in there with, some of the top guys in the division. He could come out and win this fight. I think he's going to make it close and competitive. Zalal is very hard to hit, though. So I think Zalal probably pulls it out because he's tough to hit. Emmett's going to be chasing him around a bit. But I do think it's going to be competitive. I like the over. I think this one's going the distance because Zalal is tough to hit. Emmett is just a tough out overall. And, I just think it goes all 3 rounds. And then I tied that to Macy Chase on. I just think she's the better fighter in this one. I think the number's a little wide, so I don't want to bet it on the money line, but I don't mind it as a parlay piece. I think she gets it done. Overall, she's just the better overall fighter, and putting them both together, get even money. I feel pretty good about that.
We'll wrap up with Tom on the other side. Combat Sports Report continues. Bring it. All right, we got a couple of minutes left here. I guess you could say we're into one more round, so to speak, one last round. We got Tom Zino with us, nukethehouse.com. So Tom was talking about liking Corey Sandhagen plus the 5.5 on the point spread. A chase on and to win, and a Josh Emmett fight to go over 2.5 rounds. That's plus money as well, plus 100. You can't get yourself in trouble betting plus money bets. I'm a fan of it, Tom, and you've got another parlay that you're looking at as well. Let's get into your last best bet for UFC 320.
Yeah, I think Patchy Mix has a big bounce back here. His opponent is coming over from KSW, making his debut. We saw Patchy lose in his debut against a really tough guy. His opponent, this kid, he's fought the same guy 5 times in his career, and since 2022 he's fought 4 fights. 3 of those 4 fights were against the same guy. So I don't know what kind of competition they have over there at KSW, but I think Patchy Mix in this spot, I think Patchy probably wins by sub, but I wanted to get a money line bet on him, so I'm going to roll with him in this parlay. And then Puna Soriano, I think he's since moving down to 170, he's looked great. His cardio's improved. He's shown the ability to wrestle. He's fighting Veretennikov, who, we've seen him taken down in the past multiple times. All his fights under the UFC banner, he's been taken down 2 or more times, aside from the Danny Barlow fight where, Danny Barlow is just a tall, lanky striker, and they just went kind of tit for tat for 3 rounds. So I think Puna, he's got the striking to win this fight, but more importantly, he's got the grappling, and I think Puna is a great bet here. Again, it's a big price. They don't like to give us good lines on these UFC fights. 5-6 years ago, you could bet a fight like this at minus 150, but they don't do that anymore. So you got to find a way to parlay it. So I'll put these 2 together. I feel pretty good about both guys, and solid parlay, I think.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. I've been betting this stuff for a long time, and dude, I remember like GSP would be like a minus 500 favorite. You know what I mean? And it'd be like, oh, he's going to win for sure. He'd only be like a minus 500 favorite, or minus 300 or something. Now you get people on their first fight in the company and they're minus 1,200s, right? Minus 800. And like the betting market is completely evolved with mixed martial arts. But quite frankly, there's a lot of overpriced favorites a lot of the times. And good eye by you in counting. That's amazing. The same fighter 5 times. That's crazy.
Insane. I don't think I've ever seen that. Yeah.
There was a
I
fighter.
don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, it was last week when we liked the thickness last week with Musasa. Remember? So Musasa, a good example. So, you know what I mean? People, the KO wizard, he's 7-8-0 and 7-8-1, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, do the time and actually look up the fights. Or you can if you can see them on YouTube if you can. But if you can't, go to SureDog. Bro, he was beating like 3 and 5 guys in Africa. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, so it's like, he's the KO wizard. Yeah, he's knocking out like homeless people. Like, you know, like seriously, what are we doing here? You want to, and then fine, I'm not taking anything away from him, but doesn't mean he should be a minus 400 favorite in the UFC, Tom.
Exactly. And we see it all the time, you know, and we had a fight, it got canceled, the Gaudier fight, which I think Gaudier was going to win by KO, and you know, rightfully so, but he's a guy that's been in the UFC for 2 fights, and I think he was minus 1,200. Like, what do you do with that? Even the KO, you can't even bet the KO. You got to bet round 1 KO to get even a decent price. And even the round 1 KO in that fight would have been minus money. So it's like, it's crazy. You got to try to dig. And that's what we try
challenge
to do. We try
too.
to dig as far as we can. Say again?
It's a challenge for the odds makers too, though, Tom, as much as anyone else, right? Like, they don't know a ton about these fighters, and they got to set numbers for them. That's why mixed martial arts betting, guys, and as you stated, Tom, you're betting in-game. MMA in-game is the best because it's not a computer algorithm. It's actually a human, and they listen to what Joe Rogan is saying during the broadcast on who's ahead, and like there's some really whacked out in-fight lines where you look at the line, and you're like, are they watching the same fight I am? Because I think this guy's winning, and he's plus 200 right now, right? And like, there's a lot of whacked out in-game numbers with MMA. So I know, like we said, we'll suggest it. We'll continue that conversation down the road as far as strategy. Tom, always a pleasure, my man. Thanks for joining us.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
There's Tom Zino, nukethehouse.com. Fun talking UFC 320 with Tom. Thanks to all of our guests and crew here tonight on the Combat Sports Report on the Sports Grid Radio and Television Network. Other than that, you're on your own later.